And good morning. Welcome to Focus on Stafford County here on 1590 KVGB 95.5 FM, the talk of the town, coming to you from the Mayo Money Management Studio. Chance to talk about what's going on in Stafford County. Joining us on the program, I got to make sure I get this right. Okay, it is Outgoing Executive Director Kathleen Norman. Hello. Greetings. Okay, and also joining us today is incoming Executive Director Ryan Russell.
Correct. Thank you, Steve.
Welcome to the program today, Ryan.
Hey, it's great to be here.
We're going to talk to Ryan just a little bit, and we've got some other things coming on. You're going to come back next week. I'll take you out to lunch next time you come back up, okay? So you got to come back here on your last show. Yeah, okay. Unless Ryan wants to get it, he's here. Okay. Ryan Russell, I understand that you have returned to Stafford County after an interesting 20-year journey.
Yeah, it's like the prodigal son returning home, kind of like that.
Okay.
Yeah, I left. I grew up in St. John. My grandparents lived in Pawnee Rock for 50 years in a farm outside of Pawnee Rock, and my mom's side of the family is from Alexander, and so there's still a lot of family in Rush County. The Morgans, my mom's side are Morgans, my dad's a Russell, so we've long history here in the area in central Kansas. My grandpa went to high school in Hoisington, and I went to school in St. John from second through my sophomore year of high school, and then I moved to Kentucky, and then Kentucky to Tennessee to Florida to overseas. Yeah.
Welcome back.
Thanks.
Yeah, that's a good family because you've got the Pawnee Rock Braves, you've got the Alexander Whippets, you've got the St. John Tigers, and the Hoiston Cardinals, all right there.
All there, right there.
Right there. So what did you do in Southeast Asia?
I went over there as a missionary, and I worked for a nonprofit based out of Florida. And what I did there was I was working with youth, doing youth ministry, but then I saw immediately when I got there that they needed jobs. And the education system there was really broken. And so what I did was I started an entrepreneurship training school and raised money to give loans to youth to start businesses. So that's what I started doing when I first got there. And then it morphed into me doing business consulting. And I owned a tour company and I did different development projects for different larger development agencies.
Is that what you thought about when you were growing up?
No. Actually, I wanted to follow my grandpa's footsteps. He was a military man. My grandpa was actually he worked here in Great Bend for years. He was in charge of the reserve unit here, Charles Russell. So many of the listeners probably have heard that name. So
I just got back from being in Europe for like little over 2 weeks. It was great. I enjoyed it. Man, I looked for a McDonald's and a Big Mac the first time I came back here. So what's it like to spend 20 years away from the U.S.?
Well, I was looking for a Big Mac. I was looking for Mexican food. So that's actually the number one food that Americans miss when they live overseas is Mexican food.
Okay.
And so, in Southeast Asia, I love the food. The food is really great. In Myanmar, it borders India, China, and Thailand, and so it's like the best food in the world right there in fusion, right there in that place. And so, really good food. And I lived in a place that was very impoverished. Myanmar is ranked last in all of the Southeast Asian countries. There's 10 Southeast Asian countries, and they're ranked last in every category. And so I dealt with a lot of poverty there. And try to do my best to help people as best as I could. Ryan
Russell with us. He is the incoming executive director for Stafford County Economic Development. So you have this new opportunity, but kind of sad to leave what you had been working on in Southeast Asia.
Yeah, it was pretty sad. What happened was back in 2021, I was in Myanmar, and the military took over the country. It was a military coup right in the middle of COVID, and the airports were all closed. Nobody could leave. I ended up actually leasing 3 planes. Myself, my company that I owned, I leased 3 planes to get foreigners out of the country. And so it was kind of a weird experience, kind of fun. to do that.
Fun?
And stressful. Yeah. I'm an entrepreneur, Steve. So I look at those kind of things like not as like, I don't know, super stressful things. I look at them like as kind of a fun activity to try to do something that I've never done before. And so, so they took over the country. I was trying to see if I could stay. I stayed a few months into the coup. It became a civil war, and I decided it was best to leave. So I moved to Thailand. Yeah.
Yeah. So tell me about how do you find out about this opportunity with Stafford County Economic Development?
So I came back from Asia like some people do, broke and needing to find an opportunity. And so I've been my parents live in Hudson, so I've been in Hudson, and I've been I'm blue collar at heart, so I was doing what I could do to just work hard and get to build the bank account back up. And so I was helping the Wheatland Cafe, and many of your listeners probably have heard of the Wheatland.
Yeah.
So Daryl Bauer was really needing help in November, December, and so I worked a bajillion hours with Daryl, cooking cinnamon rolls and chicken and all kinds of stuff. And then I was doing substitute teaching at the school in St. John and Stafford this last semester, and looking for opportunities, just waiting to see if something came up. And I heard that Stafford County Economic Development was looking for somebody. They'd found somebody, but they weren't sure if that was going to work out. So I knew some of the board members, asked about it, and I told them a little bit of my experience, and they were like, well, you should apply. So I did, and it's worked out.
Isn't it funny where just, you're looking for someone and Ryan Russell shows up? Kathleen.
It is. I mean, you can't ask for, I don't know, you can't plan on things to come together the way they come together sometimes. I mean, in our search for an executive director, I gave a lot of notice because I figured it would be hard to find someone, and our first candidate fell through, and so you're always kind of nervous, but Ryan's resume came across my desk, and I was like, oh, wow, like this could be a really good fit. And so he came on in mid-May, and it's been going well.
So before we go to break here, Ryan, I've got a question. So what about that secret recipe from Wheatland Cafe? Is that something that you're sworn to secrecy and you can never release to anyone?
Well, the secret recipe is Hudson cream flour.
There it is.
Right there. Hudson cream flour is the batter. That's what it is. That's the secret recipe. And Daryl uses lots of salt, which is really good, and the good fat. You need the fat, and it's all the good stuff. It makes everything good.
Exactly. We're gonna take a break. It's Kathleen Norman is with us, outgoing executive director, incoming. Ryan Russell will have more focus on Stafford County right after this. All right, we're back. Focus on Stafford County. Kathleen Norman and Ryan Russell in with us today. So, Ryan, you arrive and officially going to take the reins at the end of next month, right? So,
yeah.
What have you been doing here in the meantime as you're getting ready?
He's been doing lots of things, Steve. Lots of things. All good things.
Yeah, so Kathleen has been really great in handing things off, and I probably look like a deer in headlights sometimes because of all the information about past projects and current projects we have. But I've been trying to get in the community and get to know people. This last month, I went to all the city council meetings that I could go to. So I went to Stafford and Maxville and St. John and Hudson's city council meetings. And I've been going to some committee meetings, just getting to know people, going to community events, and trying to meet with the county commissioners and the bankers. I have some banker meetings next week that I'm going to have. And today we had a meeting with a group of Hispanic business owners at our office, and I wanted to meet them and talk to them about their needs and what's going on with them. So I've been busy trying to just get into the community and get to know people.
What do you think when you started to look back at what Stafford County Economic Development has done and what they're involved with right now, and kind of the track record since this organization was formed?
Yeah, it's been really impressive. It's been a lot of lot of really great things from White's grocery store.
Yeah.
Being behind that and making that happen it's pretty amazing. I read up a lot about that, and it looked very difficult pulling all the different funding sources together. And then we're finishing up 10 houses, and that's been quite a activity. Kathleen has been basically a contractor, and making sure those houses were built properly and done that way. And then, we've just been participating with the youth entrepreneurship event every year. There's lots of things, some small activities. We fund this or that, and we're a part of a lot of different things. And now we're about to finish a childcare facility in St. John. That's about to come online here in about a month or two. And that's going to be really needed as well. So there's lots of things that have happened. I'm pretty impressed with what they've done.
But yet with what they've done, you probably lay your head down at night and your mind's going all different directions, saying, things that you'd like to do, kind of, what's your vision for this organization and Stafford County moving forward?
Yeah, I don't have a shortage of ideas. That I'm going to have to tame that down a bit. But, I think one of the things that we'd like to do is we want to focus on building houses. That's a big mandate of ours, is making sure that we keep building houses and encouraging other people to build houses. We don't want to be the only one building houses, so we want other people to come into the community and build in all of our communities. And then also, we have businesses in our community that are not growing but could grow. So there's investing in those businesses and allowing them to expand what they're doing, maybe getting investment into those businesses, offer loans. And then we have other businesses that maybe the owners are retiring and they're aging out, that we want to save those businesses because they're good for the community. We don't want to lose services and things like that in our community. And so we want to have those transition gracefully to other people's hands. And so those are things I'm thinking about right now, is just how to build our businesses to create jobs, build houses so people can live in them, and just get the population back up in the county.
Yeah, you find unique ways to deal with what all smaller communities, all smaller counties are doing. Healthcare's got to be up there too, right?
Yeah. We're lucky. We have a really good hospital in Stafford that serves Stafford County. We also have an urgent care facility that's supported by the Edwards.
It's a medical clinic. I
It's a
don't think
medical
it's
clinic.
full
Okay.
emergency, but
It's like an urgent care. Is
I don't
it
think
urgent
it's
care?
urgent care. But they have medical clinic and diagnostics.
What I'm saying is that we do have medical facilities
Yeah.
in the county, and that's something that we could probably grow in as well. But we do have a decent hospital in Stafford.
When you say economic development, that seems like, you're going out and trying to, everybody'd like to have that giant new business, move in or locate in the county. But you mentioned something there's taking care of your businesses that are already doing business in Stafford County.
Yeah, I think people jump to that like, hey, we need to get this. We saw a cheese business going to Dodge City. Why didn't we get that? Or why they get the dairy farm or whatever? People asking like, why is this happening? Well, one, we have to get the population up, and part of that is building houses, and then we need to support the businesses that are already there. We have businesses that could grow exponentially in our county. We have really good businesses. And so we want to support those and help them grow.
Yep.
So, yeah.
Ryan Russell with us. Also, Kathleen Norman will take our final break and wrap up our show coming up after this. Back on Focus on Stafford County, Kathleen Norman, outgoing Executive Director of Stafford County Economic Development, also visiting with Ryan Russell, incoming Executive Director. Okay, Kathleen, give me an update. What's going on in childcare right now?
Right. So some of the exterior improvements have been done. Concrete for off-street parking, which was part of the zoning conditional use. Sidewalks are in still. Need to get the grass going and finish out the outside play area. But the inside is pretty well off. Received a lot of donations in terms of toys and supplies, and we have some grant funding to help cover some additional things. So next week, the committee's meeting to kind of assemble some of the storage and see what we have and start organizing. We do have a provider potentially that will be able to move forward, and they're further along in the process, so it probably won't be a full 90 days before they could open if things move forward smoothly with that. We also had some additional interest yesterday at a meeting to see if they wanted to potentially open another daycare. So we have the 2 spots there. So we'd had kind of been struggling to find providers, but that's on track now, and so really exciting to see that track.
Yeah, that's really exciting. You have providers.
Yes, yes. It's like we have the space, now we just need it to be operational.
Okay, we've talked a lot about housing on here today. What's the latest there?
So we're working to wrap up the last 2 houses in Maxville. That's part of that initial 10-unit house. It has the income restrictions, but they're getting filled. So slowly but surely, we had a little more hiccup in St. John getting them filled, but have waiting lists in Stafford and Maxville. And then we put in a grant for additional housing at the beginning of June. So June 2nd, we applied for almost $1 million between moderate income housing grant funding and tax credits. So that could be really exciting for the next 2 years.
Well, you know what I want to ask about, because I remember when Carolyn Dunn came up here with this, and it's Port Authority. I said, oh, really? Are we building a big canal in there to have, but of course we've talked about this for a long time now, and it's taking steps. Where are we at?
So, I mean, things are starting to move forward, more concerted negotiations between potential tenants and moving towards wanting to have leases in place. That's kind of the big thing, is to have contracts signed to be able to continue moving the project along. But, you know, over $5 million in funding has been secured already. There's still some that we're looking to have. Some of it can be debt financed. But hopefully this fall after harvest, construction will be happening. So there are things that have to get put into place first, but it is moving. So
nothing's going on at all for you, Ryan.
No, nothing at all.
Ryan Russell joined us, Kathleen Norman. So, okay, you getting ready to go off on, I mean, you've been off on a heck of an adventure. What are you feeling right now, getting ready to go off on a brand new one, Ryan Russell?
I feel pretty good. Yeah. I've felt last 6 months or so I've been kind of idle and thinking a lot about my future, and now it's here. So I'm ready to get going and ready to work, and just enjoying it right now.
Well, looking forward to working with you, Kathleen. You don't bail on me next month, okay?
Okay, I'll be
all
here.
Right, it'll be Ryan's show, but you'll be a special contributor. Guys, thanks for coming in today. And that's Focus on Stafford County here on 1590 KVGB, 95.5 FM Talk of the Town. News coming up next.